my presentations, we focus on the onboarding process, whether you're looking forward to getting support from persons to build your ministry, or if you're looking for learners or students for your ministry, or if you're looking for even donors for your ministry. That was the first part in onboarding. Yesterday, we looked at assigning task. Doesn't matter the task, and we looked at different areas within that. Now we're going to look at visualizing progress. That's all part of the ministry. I'm going to share, I believe my screen should be shared already. John, you can just give me a heads up if it's on. Once, or anybody for that matter, if you're seeing my screen. Okay, great. All right. When I think about progress, I think about a plant. I'm enjoying gardening since the last couple of years and being under the COVID pandemic. And it's such a beauty to see the progress of a plant from seed, even when it's inside the fruit or the vegetable. You see that seed, you put it in the ground, and you see it begin to grow. And so that's why I decided to depict this in my presentation today, because that's all a part of progress. And we see that progress. And for me, it's a great feeling. I don't think I could have understood it as my husband did before, but now I do have an appreciation, a great appreciation to see, especially when the tree starts to bear the fruit or fruits, right? I just want to do a recap. What have you gained from the first sessions of building a teaching ministry? Should be first sessions. This is why I'm inviting you to speak with me. Let's have a little chat. What are some of the things that you've gained? You can tell me something that may have been new to you, or you may have known before, and it was, let's say, reassuring for you to have learned it again in the sessions. Nobody's willing to share what they've gained so far? I'm hoping I'm doing a fairly okay job here at presenting and bringing as much information as possible so that we can put not just the information in our heads, but we can also put it to action. I'm not sure if anybody's typing too. I know the typing takes a while, so okay. I seen something coming in now from Renee Thompson. Tools we can use for the onboarding process. Okay, thank you, Renee, for sharing that you've learned about the tools. All right. So if there's nobody else, I will continue. So that was part of it. It's always good. No carpenter go into his field of work and not have tools ready. Yes, thank you, Keisha Noel. The use of technology. And I'm very big on this. Not simply because our young people are actively involved in it, but because we are seeing right now in a lot of places, spaces, wherever we go, that technology has been advancing. Simply to pay at the cashier, you use technology. No longer do you wait in lines to go and pay up front at the cashier. You use the kiosks and those kind of things. So I'm very big on that, so that we all are together in this and we can help each other with the use of technology. Ronnie also said that also how to use Google Classroom. Okay, I gave you a crash course, and I hope it will mean a lot for you to actually go and attempt it for yourself. It's always good to try on your own and see how it works. I will refer to it too a bit later in this presentation. Great. So let's head back over to the present. Oh, sorry, Kishon Noel. How we can bring our information alive through Google, Loom, and Zoom. Yes. So great. I'm happy. I'm happy, and I'm hoping that with the information you have right now, that you will put them into action. That's necessary, not just to keep it and retain it, but to show it in what we do in the life of our ministries in the work of God. All right. So let's head back over to our presentation. Thanks again for the recap. And I'm going to share a biblical reference because it's always important to, whatever we do, to try and link it back to scripture. And this scripture came out to me. Proverbs 4, verse 18. But the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn that shines brighter and brighter until the full day. But the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn that shines brighter and brighter until the full of day, or the full day. This is symbolic of process and progress. It gives us the imagery of growth, which we will discuss here in our ministries. I imagine walking on a road lit by the light of dawn, and as I journey, the day is unfolding brighter and brighter. And if you're somebody who's used to taking morning walks, you can understand and appreciate what I'm saying here. And so this is what we are going to put forward in our building of a teaching ministry, that what we want our learners and students to experience is a progress that grows brighter and brighter until the full of day. All right. And the first thing I want us to understand here in visualizing progress is the importance of it. Visualizing progress, it's about our learners being able to see where they have journeyed, or where they have come from, where they are now, and where they need to go, or where they are looking forward to going. All right. And so the importance of this is that it increases the learner's motivation levels, intrinsic. Some people are motivated extrinsically, when you give them rewards and tangible things, and as I spoke about yesterday a bit, and you will see that they are on the go, and this visualization gives you that progress, gives you that extrinsic motivation as well. But it also creates in the learner, when they're able to see, I have come from here, this is where I am now, this is where I want to go, and it gives them that drive to continue to be motivated, right? Secondly, it improves knowledge retention. Okay, because if you have a system where you can show, okay, you have 10 lessons for your students or learners to complete, or participants to complete, and you are highlighting in showing their progress each lesson, and as you show them, okay, we have completed, just as how I've gone through the first part of the presentation, onboarding, and then I showed a while ago, or we spoke a while ago, about the second part of assignments and assigning tasks. It's that kind of reminder you want to give persons of, this is where you've come from, and it helps for knowledge to be retained, as Keyshawn and Ronnie would have helped a while ago. And then it encourages teamwork, okay? Because you may want to do a group session of persons seeing, as a group, this is where we were. As a ministry, this is where we were, and this is where we are going. All right. So these are some of the importance of visualizing progress. Visualizing progress in ministry, it gives us a personalized performance, details of achievements, strengths, and weaknesses. And these things are important in reflective practices as well. We want our learners to be able to reflect on their personal performance. Okay. They can gauge where they are and see, okay, I've amassed these things, but I'm weak in certain areas, and these are the areas I need to improve on. It uses levels, checkpoints, and other methods of progressions. Okay. connecting with others and building teams. Again, like I mentioned, okay, with team working as a team and being motivated together. Now I have an example of a visualized progress chart. It's a pie chart. And I'm giving you an example in light of ministry in the church. So if your ministry is one of evangelism, you may want to present an example similar to this, not like this, but maybe to each person or as a group or just the entire ministry itself. And you're looking at, I just pulled out three areas in evangelism: communication, Bible study, personal reflection. And from this pie chart here, we may understand that you're seeing communication has a huge chunk, perhaps what? It could be about 60% or so. And this gives an idea that our communication is really, we are working well with our communication levels, right? More or less. There's a huge percentage towards that. A lot of focus is being placed there. But then we have a smaller percentage for a smaller part of the pie being personal reflection. Perhaps more reflection needs to be encouraged, personal reflection in that light. And as well, you have a bit of Bible study there going that we could probably increase as well, so that you could have maybe a third of each being working together. But the idea is, when you present a pie chart like this to your learners and your students, you are allowing them to understand the areas in which they are mastering or they are accomplishing very well, and those which they may need to work on a bit more. All right. Now, I want to tell you specifically here today, we're going to look at, in visualizing progress, what is called gamification. Okay. In visualizing progress. And gamification strategies, it's really the use of game elements in the learning environment to motivate consistent participation and long-term engagement. So you're using elements of any game, as I think it was Ronnie, I could be wrong, Clifferna, I think it was. Somebody had mentioned yesterday about charades, and charades is a game, and you can use elements of that game in the learning environment to motivate participation. Elements such as competition, all right, in visualizing progress. And we're going to go into a bit more details in this point here right now, what is called BPLs. BPLs are points, badges, and leaderboards. Okay. And so when you want to visualize progress, you could bring it in a way in gamification, where you establish a point system. Maybe there's somebody who is a teacher or teachers among us right now who may be able to understand where I'm coming from this. You set up your class and you say you're awarding points for students' participation. The person who has the most participation for the month of September will be rewarded X, Y, and Z. That's part of visualizing progress. That's part of gamification. You're allowing persons to obtain points for a reward, and so that motivates consistent participation. Then you have badges. Badges, you can have it as a physical badge pinned on, where you show outstanding persons within the ministry, or you could do it where it can be a virtual or digital badge. These can be created in Microsoft Word. They can be created in Google, and even some simple apps on your phones, or even from your tablets and laptops. And you have leaderboards. They build an excitement in the mission with God. Okay, and I'm going to show you that. An example of a leaderboard right now. If you can see, the leaderboard I set up here, I have some names listed, and then it shows you where your points standing. It doesn't matter who it is, any one of us, and it shows where you are right now. You're in third position, and then you have two persons in front of you, and then you can gauge, okay, these are the amount of points I need to get ahead. And so it encourages your students to work, to really embrace the ministry and drive with it, to accumulate and learn as much as they can, and to be successful in the ministry. Okay. Now one may say, but if I have a ministry where I want persons to learn about, let's say, the same cooking class of yesterday. Well, not cooking class, but it was soup kitchen, I believe, was being presented yesterday evening. Um, how does this work? Simple. If you have different lessons leading up to having a soup kitchen, lessons on hospitality, lessons on cooking, lessons on etiquette, among others, then you can say, okay, for these three lessons, we are awarding points for persons who have performed at the best. And you have a rubric, as I mentioned, in creating assignments, where you show persons these are the different areas under each lesson, under each assignment in which you'll be graded. And so you can create a leaderboard here showing, okay, this is the amount of points persons have established in having to complete the lessons leading up to the soup kitchen. So it can work. It just takes some planning and some really sit down moments for you to put it together to ensure that your learners and your students are fully engaged and will be um, excited about their mission with God in your ministry. This is another example of a gamification strategy. I have it with the bars going across, horizontal. Again, persons can gauge and see gamification again refers to the gaming element. So it's like a race right now when you're seeing who is ahead and who is a bit behind and where they have to pick up and how much they will have to gain again to go to be able to be on par with the person who's out front and or even to get ahead of them. Okay, so this is another example. I have completed weekly quizzes. That could be a simple gamification strategy too. You can do online quizzes. And I'm going to stop share here to show you on Google Classroom. Just give me a minute to pull that up. All right. So you should be able to see it right now. Great. So Google Classroom, here I am again, going to classwork. And you can create quiz assignment. So you can do a weekly assignment for your students. And at the end of a month, you can see who has amassed the most points or grades, because you have points across here, in the assignments to be rewarded. Okay. And this again shows you the progress. Now, as I'm in Google, I'm going to take the opportunity to go across to the grading system. See the screen. I have a list of my students' names and I have the different assignments I've given so far. A couple were homework, a couple were in class assignments, and I can see, as well as my students, they have access to this. What are some of the assignments they have missed and those they have submitted? And they can also see those that I did not grade as well. And there are some of them, they will see all their grades and they can tally up and know ahead of time, even before I calculate their grades at the end of the school term. Okay, what they will get, they can actually do it on their own. So if it's not near the end of the term and I say, okay, you guys have two more assignments, now you can get students to say, okay, I have not done too well, I'm average in this ministry here, so let me see how I can amass with the last two assignments my tutor, my teacher is giving me. Let me see how much I can get full marks to be able to be successful, to get an A, or not just about getting an A, I'm saying in teachers' terms, but to be able to accomplish this ministry successfully, not just on average, but to be fully equipped. Okay. So this is just an example. Let me come out here. All right. Now, another gamification strategy that can be used in ministry is road to learning map. And if you're not, again, into technology, you're not tech savvy, then you can even do this on the A1 or the Bristol board or the um, mountain board, as we know it here. These huge boards where you can actually create a roadmap. I'm not sure how many of you know the game Snakes and Ladders, where you have that kind of winding turns with the snake and the ladder and so on to get, well, to get to the top and so on. And you have different landmarks. You have the snake tail, the snake head, the ladder, some little points and so on board. A road to learning map is similar to that, where you have different stops, you have different areas of lessons and assignments and so on, and persons can see individually. You can do it as well as a group. Persons can see, okay, I'm on this roadmap, I'm at this point here on the roadmap, and they can see where they are going to go higher and higher to get to the top to complete the journey. So this is another example that can be useful in your ministry and for your learners to visualize progress. And so I am at the end of the presentation. I try to keep it as simple as possible for us to understand the whole visualizing progress of building a teaching ministry, and to remind you that in building a teaching ministry, our focus is on building our students, our learners, so that when we get them as a seed, they grow into a strong tree bearing much fruit that our community, our country, our region, the world can benefit from. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen in and being a part of my presentation. At this point, I'm going to entertain any questions, any comments. Anybody has any questions, any comments from the presentation? Anything that comes to mind that would be useful for others to know in visualizing progress? I would love to hear from Keyshawn. I know Keyshawn is a secondary high school teacher, and maybe he can share with us just a bit about how he will use in teaching at school, ways in which he can visualize students' progress, or he has done things that he has done to visualize students' progress. Meanwhile, the floor is open to anybody else. Thank you. That's a very good question, Kishan. He's asking, what if a person does not like others seeing their marks, especially if you are a slow learner? Now, remember I said from the beginning, ministry is about supporting others. And you can have a general presentation of progress, and it shows everybody's progress. And if somebody says to you, well, I don't like my stuff being on display because look, then it is us, especially as the tutor, to allow this person to feel comfortable enough by expressing to them. It will form it will cause them to be motivated by seeing others progressing, yes, and seeing themselves behind. But you are saying to them, don't don't look at it in a negative light that you are failing or you are not doing well, but see it as, okay, I'm here and this is where I need to get. All right. So you want to build that level of encouragement with the person who may not feel like comfortable sharing. And even if they don't feel comfortable sharing, then we have to respect that. So the next time you may not want to openly show the chat, But you can do simply like I presented in the Google Classroom. Each child sees their progress rather than the whole group. Okay. And then you will want to engage a one-on-one session to go through with their progress as well. That's very important. On the other hand, you'll want to speak to the group and let them know if anybody may be behind, if anybody is lagging behind, then it is all of us who are responsible for helping them to progress, right? And move forward. So these are some of the ideas that I'm thinking about, that things that we can do to encourage that person not to feel uncomfortable being behind, but that they're seeing it that we are supporting each other together in this ministry to move forward. And we use the strong ones to help the weak. All right. That's often useful as well. Yep. I hope I answered your question. I was helpful in answering your question. I know, Kishan, I'd ask you to, what sort of things you have used in helping your students to visualize progress? Thank you very much, Kiki Davis. I think that's Kiona, I believe. All right. I'm not sure if Kishan is going to come back on, but again, like I said, this is towards the end of the presentation, and I am looking forward to seeing more persons out of this DILTS being in a position like myself to embrace the opportunity to teach and to share with others our knowledge gain here and really build ministries in the name of God, the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. Kishon is saying, also, I love the idea of gamification in teaching. I believe that students will be willing to participate in the learning progress. I normally try to that on more practical work. Yes, the practical aspect is good as well. Um, that's the thing. As human beings, we are motivated by rewards. Yeah, we have motivational theories that really um, shows us how we look for our needs to be met, like Maslow's theory. And when our needs are met, there's a sense of accomplishment. And so we do have part of that being rewards and seeing progress and in different areas in our lives being achieved and so on as we move forward. So this is my presentation here, and thank you again.